Hello everybody, the date is September 14th and welcome to the California recall election night. Republicans in the state of California have signed a petition that have garnered enough support to recall Governor Gavin Newsom for his lockdown-heavy response to the coronavirus pandemic, as well as breaking his own rules while the state was in lockdown. It is now 11 p.m. and polls are now starting to close. So far, it is currently too close to call whether or not this is going to be a close race. But so far, Gavin Newsom is 2 points ahead currently over the recall. Voters are early numbers look good for him thus far, and voters want him to remain thus far. Now, for the potential California recall contenders, first we have Larry Elder with 21.5%. Kevin Pratheth with 11.1%, John Cox with 7.8%, Kevin Faulconer with 6.2%, Kevin Kiley at 4.8%, Caitlyn Jenner sits at 4.7%, Ted Gaines sits at 1.8%, and Jeff Hewitt sits at 1.7%, the Libertarian. Patrick Kilpatrick sits at 1.5%, and Jacqueline McGowan sits at 1.2%. The other candidates sit at 0%. It is now 11:30 p.m. We now have some updates. The California governor recall the recall race is still too close to call. Newsom increasing his lead. Right now, the Remain in office is catching up, I guess you could say. And for the recall candidates, Larry Elder's lead slowly but surely dropping. He is now at 19.8%. Kevin Pratheth sits at 15.2%. Kevin Faulconer now in third place, sitting at 7%. John Cox being bumped down to fourth, sitting at 6.7%. Caitlyn Jenner now being bumped up to 5.2% at fifth place. Taking on the second batch of candidates that we're looking at, Kevin Kiley sits at sixth place now at 4.5%. Jeff Hewitt bumping up to seventh place, sitting at 2.3% as more of the Libertarian vote comes in. Ted Gaines at 8th, sitting at 1.9%. Patrick Kilpatrick sitting at 1.6%, and Jacqueline McGowan at 1.2%. That is a mistake. That's supposed to say 12 p.m. We are at midnight currently, and we can now make a projection that Gavin Newsom will remain in office. We have seen enough votes come in that we can project that Newsom will remain in office. As you can see here, is currently 50-50, but that's coming from every single rural area right now. All the rural counties have come in, and the rest are just the urban counties as of now. And here's the current recall ballot, though it currently doesn't matter anymore, as Larry Elder's lead rises again at 20.3%. Kevin Pratheth's support rises to 18%. Kevin Faulconer sits at 8.2%. John Cox sits at 6.5%. Caitlyn Jenner sits at 5%. Kevin Kiley sits at 4.3%. Jeff Hewitt sits at 2.8%, Ted Gaines sits at 1.8%, Patrick Kilpatrick sits at 1.6%, and Jacqueline McGowan sits at 1%. It is now 3 a.m. in the morning. We now have all the final numbers being counted. Here's the final tally for the recall race. Gavin Newsom is expected to win this, is expected to remain in office by 8 points. 54 to 46, 54% of the voters wanted Gavin Newsom to stay in office. And here is the county map. As you can see, a bunch of flips from 2020. However, and there was polling coming out of the San Francisco area that had Gavin Newsom down. However, that does seem to be the case. He ends up, the Remain in office ends up winning the county by around 20 points. Here's the California governor recall ballot. Even though it is highly unnecessary, I just think it would be, we just think it's necessary for you to see it. Larry Elder's final totals lead up to 21.4%. Kevin Pratheth's final totals at 18%. Kevin Faulconer sits at 8.2%. John Cox sits at 6.2%. Caitlyn Jenner sits at 5.4%. Kevin Kiley sits at 4.2%. Jeff Hewitt sits at 2.8%. Ted Gaines sits at 1.8%. Patrick Kilpatrick is at 1.6%, and Jacqueline McGowan is at 1.0%. Now let's take a look at the recall ballot county map. As you can see, only 4 candidates ended up winning counties. Pratheth winning the more liberal counties, Elder winning the majority of the more conservative and battleground counties. Cox winning a deep Southern California county, and Faulkner winning in around the San Francisco area. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go follow my Twitter at ChaoticPolitics. This is the Chaotic One saying peace.